I'm going to ask you guys a question. What does baseball cards mean to you guys?
Childhood.
Yeah.
Childhood, right? Memories. For me, baseball cards was my temporary relief from what was going on in my personal life. Now, I know, Khoa, you kind of talked to me today earlier, which kind of like made me go, ugh. You said, let's not always be so personal. But I feel like for me, the Astros are personal, and I can't do anything. I cannot be me without being personal. Mm-hmm. So, for me, baseball cards was a temporary relief from my own personal childhood. When I think about companies like Fleer, Bowman, Donruss, Upper Deck with the little hologram stamp, Tops with the unedible gum, it brings me to a comfort zone looking through my baseball card collection that allowed me to escape a violent world. Hiding in my closet with a flashlight, using my imagination. But it was more than just fantasizing about playing baseball. It was hoping that one day those men could be my dad. See, I didn't have a good childhood growing up, and I deferred the details. I think at this point, I don't need to go in details. Just know that baseball was my first sport that I fell in love with. I remember spending the whole day outside trying to teach myself how to toss and catch a baseball. I had no one to teach me, but it goes deeper than just that. Why I truly brought up baseball cards was because one of my favorite companies to collect was Sportsflix. All right, they were developed by OptiGraphics in Arlington, Texas. Right, these cards use the state-of-the-art printing process called lenticular printing. They were referred to as triple action magic motion cards. Basically, each card changes its picture in 3 times: 1 headshot, 2 action shots of 1 sequence, giving the effect of a player either hitting or pitching. Sportsflix were like my first card that I ever collected. I started collecting baseball cards in 1986. I was about 5 years old. Okay? Now, I want you to hear me out. The first player I remember getting was Glenn Davis. While a member of the Houston Astros, Glenn Davis, in the 1980s, he finished 3 times in the top 10 National League MVP balloting, 86, 88, 89. And I still believe he ranks all-time, 5th all-time career as far as home runs. He, along with Nolan Ryan, Orbit the mascot, and of course, our wonderful rainbow uniforms transcended my love for the game. The Astros and players felt like they were nothing like the other teams. I started collecting cards when I was 5 in 1986. By the time 87, 88 came around, I fully comprehend that the Houston Astros were my city's team. Okay? This was my team. And I became obsessed with Glenn Davis. He was my favorite Astro player at the time. When I found out that Glenn Davis was going to be at the baseball shop signing cards, I begged my mom to take me. My first autograph was Glenn Davis. I remember meeting him and telling him that I want to be just like him. He told me to practice every day, eat my vegetables, and always do the right thing and be a good kid. Real talk. Those words resonated to me like he was my dad giving me advice. I remember in 1990, which was considered a bold move, the Baltimore Orioles actually acquired first baseman Glenn Davis from the Houston Astros for pitchers Pete Harnisch, Kurt Schilling, and outfielder Steve Finley. Good old Steve Finley. And of course, I was devastated. See, John, the Astros have always represented to me as a team of good men and hard workers, a team different from everyone. My favorite Astro players to collect when I was young was Casey Quintel, Craig Biggio, Alex Trevino, King Cabinetti, Rafael Ramirez, Kevin Bass, Glenn Davis, Mike Scott, Nolan Ryan, Dave Smith. I have all those cards today. And it's true about the Astros. If it is true that the Astros cheating, I could care less about blaming the MLB for allowing this to happen. This falls on everyone in the dugout, to the owners and management, to every player on our roster. In order for something like this to be executed, that means everyone was involved. I love this city. It's my home. And I remember the devastation that Harvey, calls, watching it on TV. People's lives were ruined. We as a city came together and rallied behind the Houston Astros. The Astros, the players became to everyone what they were to me when I was 5 years old. Positive reassurance that no matter what happens, everything's going to be okay. That we will get through this. It's almost felt that the Astros in 2017 were batting and battling for all the discomfort and pain the city was enduring. But in reality, it seems like they were cheating, lying to themselves, each other, the city, and most importantly, the 5-year-old in me. You're right, John. I'm ignorant for still believing that the Astros and the players the same way I did when I was 5. Hiding in the closet with the flashlight, looking at my cards so proudly, especially when looking at my Houston Astros cards. To think that there are kids right now that could be doing the same and are now heartbroken that their favorite team and players are just liars and cheaters. If what being is reported is true, then there's no coming back from this. I'm heartbroken to know that I can't cheer for my beloved Astros, the Astro organization that I never thought about the impact cheating would have on this city and the fans. They never considered this why they were doing it. Now, from this point on, if true, everywhere that they will go and play, they will also be reminded that they are cheaters and frauds, which we fans will have to endure and defend as well. And I refuse to defend cheaters. Because every day I've lived in my life knowing it's what you do when no one's looking that defines you as a man, checked or unchecked. So for me, I didn't want to talk about it because I knew that this was deeper than just a team caught cheating. Because everything that's been good, that's helped me through my childhood has been Astros. They were my first love. Baseball was my first love, but Astros became the foundation. And now, everything that I believe in as a 5-year-old kid has been ruined. My favorite player is Jose Altuve. I can't even say right now he's the greatest Astro of all time. Because guess what? As far as I know, none of those other Astros were caught cheating. And it breaks my heart. Because from this point on, I don't know if I can wear another Astros hat. I don't know if I can ever look at this team again. But what hurts me the most is all those guys, from upper management all the way down to the person that cleans the jock straps, knew this was going on. And none of them considered how it would make us as fans and this city look for the rest of our lives. And for that, that is unexcusable. And that's how I feel about that.
Very good, Chris. Very pointed, very to the point. I think a lot of people share your sentiment. Very personal from you. And I commend you for speaking your truth, which we always do, what we try to do on this podcast from day one. I don't think there's anything else left to be said. I think that if you're an Astro, if you're an MLB player, you need to look at yourself in the mirror. You need to take accountability because people just like Chris, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds are looking at you. And hopefully, baseball, Astros, and anybody that cheats in this game, you realize you might just lose fans. It's already happened once. And I'd hate to see this game go any further than it has into the depths of losing these fans.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Sports Trapp Podcast. My name is John Trapp. That is Christopher CRod Rodriguez. Khoa. Time for the pick sixes.
I guess it's the only thing that's going to be able to get us through this. Hey, before we get into pick six, John, I just want you to know, man, that, Like, the reasons why you're my best friend is because you've been riding with me since all the way from high school. And you've been the closest thing I've ever had to, like, a real brother. A real brother. So, like, no matter when we agree to disagree, the one thing I know for sure is I know that you'll never lie to me and that you always got my back. And it's hard when you're a kid growing up not having the right people in your life teaching you the right way to admire sports figures. Somebody asked me the other day why I'm so obsessed about sports. The reasons for it is because it gave me a way to escape reality. And what hurts the most is when your reality that you have and you're living in this false reality is that you hate when reality hits that just like your family, the people you look up to as far as athletes may be just as bad or even worse. And that's why it's important as men, especially for our families, that we set the example and no matter what, always do the right thing.